Hello, everyone. How are you this evening? Welcome to day 4, part 2 of Fall Days Fright Nights. Hey, Camille, how are you this evening? Hello, hello. How are you doing? So let's see, just a little housekeeping. If you'd like to get text alerts before our live stream start, please text the word live stream to 540-870-0726. And that will just follow the prompts for the texting service, and that'll put you on the list to get notified before we go live. If you are going to be going to Dallas Cookie Con, this is your last chance to participate in receiving free swag. I will, of course, have regular trade items, but if you would like a swag bag, please go ahead and use that same phone number, 540-870-0726, and text the word CookieCon as all one word for your keyword. That will put you into the texting group for when we are actually at CookieCon. And that way you can get over on the coffee site and download the free form with all of your information so we can stay in touch. Hello, hello. We can stay in touch in Dallas and then hopefully all find the best time to meet each other. Let's see. Hey, Jen, how are you this evening? I hope you had a great day. Hello, Miss Becky. Hello, hello. Courtney, good to see you here tonight. Hi, Sandy. Allison, hello. Allison's working on competition cookies right now. Let's see, who is this? Hello, baking friends. Who is this? Someone tell me your name if that was your comment. We want to make sure we say hello. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Lavelle. How you doing? Let's see, we've got a couple more people and then we're going to jump right in, okay? I'm not sure who that is, but hello. Hi, Danielle. Hello, Charlotte. Hi, Barbie. Hey, Patty. Another Facebook user, you got to tell SteamYard, yes, is that right? StreamYard. I said SteamYard. Tell StreamYard it's okay to show your name. Hi, Lori. Oh, hey, Sally, how are you? Hello, hello, Colorado. Well, I'm so glad all of you are here tonight. If you purchased one of the Halloween cookie kits, hey, Mary, how are you? If you snagged one of the kits, Sally. So listen, I'm just going to tell you, I tried to go live 2 different times this weekend with you guys, and I don't know what was going on, but so far this weekend, I have had a major Facebook update that I didn't know about. USPS, the night I tried to do all of the labels for the Halloween boxes, did an overnight system upgrade, which put me a day behind on having your labels done, which was no big deal because I just did something else. But it's annoying when you sit down to do that thing and it's not working. So then you got to adjust everything when you have a schedule. And then StreamYard apparently has done an update. So now StreamYard and Facebook are having some issues. So just even getting my broadcasts created today, I'm guessing because it's talking to Facebook, I'm guessing had a little bit of issue. But I think we're okay tonight. I couldn't set up a pre-broadcast and get it to go to all 3 of the places that we stream in. So I had to wait until it was time to go live. But I did get a text alert out tonight. So that was fun. Quick reminder, housekeeping issue. Do not forget, because I will be traveling next Tuesday. Can you believe it's only a week away? Like six days, and I'll be heading to Dallas. And I'm slightly nervous because I haven't flown in a little over 2 years now. I mean, I'm not nervous about the flying part. It's just all the stuff you're seeing about how people are acting on airplanes. To be truthful with you, I hope I show up at Dulles Airport and our whole plane is full of cookiers going to Dallas. Then it'll be just fine. But I suspect it will not be like that. So anyway, housekeeping, what was I getting ready to tell you? Don't forget, next Monday, we're going to have our day 5, part 1 and part 2, and we're going to do the first cutter that we did, the first big cutter from day one. We're going to be doing that as the fall days part of that cutter. And then that will wrap up that series before I leave for CookieCon. But that's going to be next Monday because I'll be traveling Tuesday. But don't worry, anytime I have internet access on Tuesday, I'll just pop on and do snippet videos all day. They'll be live and raw, unedited footage. We're just going to pop up and say hello and keep traveling. Can't wait for you to see everything. Super excited to see this hotel because I'm hearing that this hotel is gorgeous. So I'm excited about that. Hello, Teresa. Let's see. Oh, yep. Now you are showing up as yourself, Sally. By the way, Sally, love that sugar prism painting you did on those macaroons. They were beautiful. All right. Well, guys, let's jump right in. Earlier today, I popped on, showed you the shape. We didn't talk about flips this morning, but if anybody looked at the video from this morning and you came up with some flips, go ahead and type them over in the comments so that you guys can be chatting over there while I am drawing. One of the things I told you this morning was I was just going to do the under layer instead of scraping with black icing, so I didn't have to mix up another color tonight, that I was just going to use a black marker, but I want to show you something. Okay, so remember when I showed you the cookie kits for our next 3, potentially 4 cookie kits? The Halloween, the limited edition Christmas, and the big Christmas kit. And then potentially 4th kit is on the horizon. Like I've already ordered for Easter and now I'm getting stuff set for Valentine's Day, but I want those kits to start dropping in price once the majority of the people that are buying them, once you have the basic goods that you need, right? Then we'll start moving to, okay, here's a list of where you can get products like your cookie turntable, the mat for your table, things that we've already had in the kit. That's going to, basic items, that's going to allow me to bring down what I have to put in. So hopefully we're going to get to downgrade to a smaller box, which will be less shipping. And then we are going to, they won't be as expensive because we won't have to put as much in there. Now, having said that, I did really upgrade the level of items in your box this time. So you've got full size, not sample size, of 3 different items from the sugar art that in and of themselves in your box are a $22 value. Then you've got 3 different gels in this box. And remember, pick up some purple, but you've got 3 different gel colors in this box. You have a toolkit. Let me see if I have mine handy. I had no idea the price on these had gone up so much. And this is something I bought a bit in a while back. Let me see if I have them all here. But a friend of mine pointed out to me last night. I told you when I ordered these in, these are professional grade fondant modeling chocolate sculpting tools. This set of 6. So last night, you see these? These are in your kit. I did get a good price on these, but it bumps the cost of the kit up when everything's not super inexpensive. But these are good, high quality sculpting tools. Apparently, these are now selling a set of 6 like this with all the different tips. These are now selling in the United States for close to $40 for the set of 6. So they may not be in your boxes again because it looks like something that the price is really going up on. Not sure why. Maybe it's the manufacturer they're coming from. Maybe it's something to do with the supply chains during the pandemic. I don't know. But if you got the box, make sure you hang on to these and protect them because that's like gold, a $40 set and that. So just this and your 3 sugar arts and your gels cover, at retail, cover your box. So your box was an even better deal. I'm so excited about that because I like to bring you good deals. So let's see. Let me set these down. We don't need these tonight. I'm just telling you they're in the kits. But listen, there are several people on here right now. So what I would like for you to do, if you wanted, and I'm watching over in the Facebook comments, okay? So yeah, Judy, they are great tools and I use mine a lot. It's just difficult to get nice quality items like that in a box when you're trying to watch the price. So it's one of the things that if you got the box, don't give those away. Hang on to those because they are things that we are going to use as we go forward. And it's nice to have the higher quality tools. Yes, there are other things that we can substitute and use, but these are just very nice. So hang on to them. Next thing, let me think for just a minute. Next thing I wanted to tell you, we talked about those tools. Oh, so I have two. Hold on, I'm seeing a question. Let me answer that real quick. Do I buy the ornament cutter from Dots and Bows? Courtney, if you're talking about the big, like 8.5 inch cutter for Cookie-a-thon, which is the water globe that I'm doing isomalt work in, if that's what you're talking about, then yes, that cutter is coming from Dots and Bows, and you can pick that up on there. Also, you guys, our third series that is specific to Cookie Snack Attack Tuesdays has released. It is also on the Dots and Bows site. There are 4 cutters in that, and they are super cute. Let's just say you're going to learn a lot of really cool texture techniques at Christmas on those cookies. And we are not going to do them in the month of December. We're going to do them in the month of November so that you guys can apply those things to any projects you might want to do in December. Okay. In case you want to sell cookies or, whatever you want to use them for, parties, giveaways. So we're going to do those 4 cookies in November. And then in between Cookie Con, which is next week, I'll be returning the following Sunday, so we'll be live streaming. Oh, Jen, thank you for putting that code in. SS Class 10 will get you 10% off if you purchase those cutters on Dots and Bows on a day where they're not having that buy 3, get 1 free sale, okay? So don't forget that. Also, STL files are there. So what was the other thing? Sorry, you guys. So in between Cookie Con, which is next week, we'll stream again the following Tuesday when I get back. And then I think we have 4 weeks before the beginning of November. I think we have 4 weeks, but we're going to make it 4 weeks. We're going to do fall cookies. And I think we've done enough Halloween, but I'm not promising I'm not going to sneak another Halloween in on you, or that I'm not going to invite some friends to come decorate Halloween cookies if we can get them rounded up in time. But on Tuesdays, I have some really cool fall things we're going to do, and we're going to use generic cutters, so there's not anything you have to buy. Your December kits will be releasing in November. There's a limited edition Christmas kit that's going to come with your cutter in it. If you do not get that cutter by getting the kit, then you cannot buy that cutter anywhere else. It's only coming in that kit. I ordered them in all wholesale. They were produced by Dots and Bows, so you can be sure they're good quality cutters. But that box and that class is only for people that get the box. It's very limited edition, and it's going to be a very advanced class, okay? So I'm excited about that. But because I didn't want to leave anyone out, there is also a Christmas class that is going to be so much fun. Can't wait to show it to you. I haven't taught anything that I'm teaching in that Christmas class. I have not taught that in another class. I have not taught that on Cookie Snack Attack. So the things you're going to learn in there are going to be really fabulous too, and different, so that you don't feel like you're getting all the same thing all the time. And it's all things you're going to be able to use for the holidays. So I'm excited about that. So we have all of those big projects coming, trying to keep everything moving. Plus, I have a ton of stuff going on in the background here to get ready for the Cookie Snack Attack Shack. Renee, do not be worried about it if you're not that advanced, because I fully believe in breaking everything down to the most micro level. And although it's advanced techniques, if you approach them in the time schedule that I give you for how to do it, you're going to be just fine. Seriously, you will be just fine. It'll require a little practice. Maybe your first one will be a practice cookie, but then another cookie or so, because we're doing one large cookie in that class. Okay. It's going to be at least a 3-hour class, potentially a 3.5, but then there's prep work ahead of time for some of the things that are going to be on that you need to have ready before the class, okay? So I did want to show you this. So in your boxes, you guys are all getting these nice full-size edible ink markers because I've found these, got a great price, so I could afford to get them in your box. But look what I also found. I know a lot of you are like me and you love these Tweets markers that have the really fine point for doing detail work. Okay, so I'm not sure if these are FDA approved and they just haven't gotten them FDA approved yet or not. I don't know. I don't know anything about it except that they're not marked FDA approved, okay? But I love this marker. So look what I found for us that I'm going to go back to them and get a quote on. It's a full-size marker, edible ink, same company. It's got the nice watercolor brush end on this end. But then check this out. Look at that. Can you see? Fine point and edible ink, FDA approved pen. Isn't that so cool? So next year, 2022. Can you believe we're using that word already? I mean, that series of numbers strung together, 2022. We will be getting some of these for our kits. So when we get through getting the other ones in the kits, we're going to swap over to this. And look what they sent me as a sample. So excited to try this. I have not yet. But we've got a brush end on this end with the white and then fine point detail on this end, like our other markers, in a white pen. And it's a large pen, you guys. So I'm very excited about that too. All right, so let's get to work. How do you guys feel about that? Jen, if you will put down a minute marker for 17 minutes and a little note that our tutorial starts there. That way people can just watch the beginning if you need to for all of the things that are going on. But now let's get into the cookie. So I used the watercolor tip and I just colored in an area of the cookie. We did this. Oh, this must not be the same one because it's not the same shade. And you do have to watch that, you guys. I did not realize that until yesterday when I was doing something. But definitely you want to use the same marker when you're doing this if you go back and add other areas later. So I'm increasing my area a little bit because I think I told you guys I got really creeped out by the ghoulish cookies that I made last week. Creeped out by my own cookies. How funny is that? So anyway, I'm going to make these areas a little bit bigger because I want to do happy pumpkin tonight and a happy ghost, okay? Even my ghost is not going to be scary tonight. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to slide these up and let that ink finish drying just because I don't want to have any trouble with that. And then I'm going to jump right in and show you on the cookie what we're actually making with this cookie, okay? So you guys can get prepared to do a little sketching. So for my ghost, I want my ghost to kind of, we're going to do that double stacked outline so that when we go back and flood the cookie, we get that cool like ripple look on the cookie. So knowing that the marks are here, here, and here, what I'm going to do is just remind myself that when I do my outline, this is where I want to focus on putting a little bit of movement on the cookie. Okay. And then up here, if you hadn't figured this out yet, I thought I was giving you a great clue earlier, but I actually got several messages saying, hey, seriously, what are we doing with the, what is on the side of the ghost? Does he have ears or something? I think some of you were trying to do the cookie ahead of time. So anyway, I'm sorry I stumped you. It wasn't meant to stump you, but this is going to be a cute little hat. Okay. So what we're going to do for him is let's find our marker points. And this is going to be the same. If you want to go ahead and sketch the cookies that you have done, it's going to be the same for the pumpkin and the ghost. We're just going to change out the body on the pumpkin, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. But we're starting with the ghost, okay? So find your marker point here and just make a little dot about 1/8 of an inch in on both sides, just so you can get the visual of where everything's going to be. And then up here, I want you to just come in about 1/8 of an inch at each of these points. And imagine his hat up here as if it had a crease like a cowboy hat would, like if it dipped, because when we go to flood the cookie, we're going to do that double stacked outlining, right? and then have that little ripple area there, okay? So then I want him to have, and I'm sketching on this naked cookie because it's going to be difficult for you to see the next part if you've already done a swipe of black icing or colored your icing in, okay? So I want the bill of his hat, as if he were pulling his hat down, I want that to have a little dip in the front. So I want to come here, find my 2 points. I want to come over to the center, and then I want to dip down at least 1/4 of an inch because I want it to have that nice wave, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around. Well, first, let me mark one more thing. Well, let's do this first. This will be a little easier. We're going to do it in sections just so you can see it. And that way, if you want to alter the design, you can. So let's just give a nice, I'm going to turn this so you can see it a little better. Let's just find our areas here and let's give this a nice rounded swoop for the front of his hat. Okay. All right. Look good. And we know his hat's going to come in right here when we pipe it. So let's just give ourselves some lines so we can see what he's going to look like. Then we want to come over here. We've come in about this far. This is going to be the side brim of his hat. So we know that our ghost is here. We just want to continue the body of our ghost at a little angle as if we were following along this profile up to the top here. And then we want to come over here and do the same thing. And just give our ghost a nice little round area up here. And you can increase it if you want to. If you don't feel like you made it large enough, increase it. Now let's talk about how we make this look more like a hat. So what I want to do is I want to come off the bill of this hat and I want to swoop this around just like this. Okay, can you see that? So it looks like the underside of his hat. And then this would just be like an extra area under here. So we'll put a little brown on that and just scrape it, or straw color, whatever you made your straw color. And then this will end up, when we do the double piping and then we go back and do our texture piping for the straw, it's going to make this rim look like it's sitting up off the cookie, because we're actually going to fully fill in our ghost so that it has an underwire or a lift underneath it, okay? Same thing over here. We want to go from the point where our ghost head is going to be touching, and we want to pull it out and back in just a little bit for that side area of the hat. Just shade it so that we'll remember to darken it in. All right, and so we've got our ghost marked. Our hat, we know we're going to make him look real flowy. This is a great cookie to level up, you guys, if you want to do a little experimenting with using fondant on the cookie. Now let's swap over to this one and let's think pumpkin. So first, let's take care of the hat, and let's just do the hat the same way so that you can pipe it later. We're going to pipe one hat tonight so that you can see it being done. But then the rest of your cookies, depending on how many you baked, you may want to change it up and just do a basic outline and flood. You may want to try this weaving technique I'm going to show you. So I'm going to leave that up to you, but we will fully finish the piping on a hat on one of these cookies. But I'm going to mark the hat just the same way, and I'll talk you through how to take care of that, how to do it if you just want to outline and flood, okay? So pumpkin, we're going to have a pumpkin on here. Let's treat this section as the center. And let's go ahead and mark this whole section of the pumpkin, because remember, it's okay that the pumpkin goes up underneath the hat because it's going to give the front of the hat a little more lift. So it gives us a little bit more dimension. All right, then let's come over here and take in some of this area. And let's do our next section on the pumpkin. Okay, you see? Then over here, let's go ahead and add 2 more sections of the pumpkin, and make sure you're curving those lines to draw your attention into the center of the pumpkin, because it gives you a more rounded effect on the actual cookie. Now, this is one of those cutters where we're using dual purpose. So my thought was this with the pumpkin. You could very easily come back and add a royal icing transfer down here. You could add a fall floral. You could pipe a little bit of grass as if the pumpkin's sitting in the grass. You could put some straw down here if you wanted to make it look like he was sitting on a hay bale. So this little bit of room you can use for whatever you would like to, but use your guidelines to get at least 4 sections on this pumpkin, okay? Now let's take a look up here at his hat again. We know we want to bring the body of the hat, the top part down just a little bit. We know it's going to cross there. And we want to go ahead and take in, we want the bill of the hat to come down, remember? So we're going to do a low swoop and it's going to come down over that pumpkin. Okay, and again, the sketching is just so you get the idea of how to layer this guy. Then we want to give it a little curve over here, right? Remember, this is going to be the under part of the hat, so we're going to shade that in with the straw color, but flat. Okay, so it looks like you're looking up into the inside of the hat. We're going to do that on both sides. And then around that, we're going to be doing pressure piping. So anybody have any questions on sketching this? We okay? Good. I don't see any questions over there. So we're going to jump back over to the ghost cookie. And what I'm going to do is pull this in because I'm going to use a scribe real quick, a really sharp needle scribe. Remember I said I was going to make him look happy? So I'm going to give him some eyeballs. Let's just look at this one side by side. So you have your spacing in the video, okay? We know his hat's going to come roughly down along here. I'm just going to give it a little scraping. It doesn't have to stay in this exact area, but I think given that we're on camera, this will make it easier for you to see it. So let's just give a little scraping where we know that hat's going to dip. And then I want to give him some eyeballs. So I want him to have some nice, cute eyeballs in here. I want that black to show underneath, though. So I'm trying to make them rounded and friendly eyeballs, not like scary, pointy, triangular eyeballs. You see what I'm saying? So let me dust that off so you can see. So we've got 2 eyeballs. And then how about we give him a cool smile? We'll give him one of these neat, like grin smiles. You know what I mean? So when we go to fill in, we'll leave those blackened out areas showing. Can you see that okay? Let's see if you can see that. I think you get the idea for him. So on your jack-o'-lantern, you can actually make a full jack-o'-lantern mouth. Although, let me go ahead and show you quickly what we're going to do on the jack-o'-lantern, okay? So let's just switch gears and do all this messy stuff at once so that I can switch out my paper towel. So knowing what this is going to look like, why don't we go ahead and do the same thing? Let's find our spot and mark roughly where our hat's going to dip down to so that we don't put our eyeballs too high. You see that okay? Everybody's good? All right, so on my pumpkin, I'm going to give him rounded eyes, but kind of wonky because you know how it is when you carve a pumpkin. They're not exactly perfect eyeballs. So I'm just going to give him a little like jelly bean eyeball. Would that make sense if I said jelly bean, that shape? Right? I don't want him to be scary, but I don't want him to be too cutesy, right? I mean, I suppose we could. He's a cowboy pumpkin as it is, but okay, so I've got these 2 cute eyes. All right, now because it's a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern, you would typically give him a nose. So let's just scrape off a basic triangle nose to mark our space. Again, most of this is just marking space, okay? And then how about we give him, I don't want to give him a super detailed like teeth cut out jack-o'-lantern mouth, but I do want to kind of make him, I want it to look carved, but I want it to kind of look happy, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to come right up here. I'm just going to give him kind of a wonky rounded mouth, okay? Do you see what I'm doing? So he has a mouth. I guess a toothless grin is what I'm going for here. All right. Now, if you're doing this and you used a marker to do your cookie and you've removed too much of the black, totally fine. Okay. You can go back in there and just remarker the part that you need to stay black. Just stay inside your scribed lines. Okay. So let's swap this out. Give me just a second. I don't want to have this mess all over my countertop the whole time. So what did I do with the other cookie? You see, oh, there we go. I see what I did with it. I want to keep these to the sketch cookies to the side so you can keep your bearing as you're doing the cookies. Let me twist all that up. Hey, you want to see something fun I got in? Has nothing to do with the tutorial. and I haven't fully opened them yet, but you know I like blingy brushes and things. Look at these brushes that I just got. Aren't they cute? So I'll show you one, and then we'll go back to the tutorial. Look how fun this is, and it's got like pink diamonds in here. Can you see that? I'll lift it for you. It's got pink sparkle in there, pink diamonds, and then it's a very, very fine detail brush. Isn't that cool? And the lid comes with it, so you can always keep it. I'm probably keep them in these tubes. I'm so ridiculous about this when I get something like this that I really like, but they're all different tops on the brushes. And of course I ordered them because they were pink and sparkly, but I also needed fine brushes. So they're actually for nail art. So they're perfect for something that is coming up shortly for us. Paper towel. Sorry, let's get on with this. All right, so let's jump back and do our ghost first. I'll set this one here for spacing for you to look at, and then we're going to work on this one, okay? So I want to start first with the white, and then we're going to bounce over. Let me see if I can get all 4 of these in frame, you guys. We'll do the ghost first, and then we'll jump right over to the pumpkin because they're going to need to set up a little bit in between, okay? So what I'm going to start out with first, I do think I should do this though, because I'll get to talking to you and forget what I'm doing. I do want my ghost to come up here, right? I want to fill this part in. I want all of that to be ghost, and then I don't want to fill in over the eyes and the mouth. And you don't have to give your ghost a mouth, and you can also make your ghost super scary if you want to, okay? Barbara, I can't share the link because I'm actually talking with them about getting a good price on the ones that we need for a kit. So I'm not going to share the link yet. If I can't get a good price, a better price, like a wholesale price, so that I can put them in the kit and then reduce the price of your kit, then I will tell you where I got them from, and you guys will just have to spend the money and spend the big bucks and order them, okay? I can give you some others, but not those because I'm researching them for a kit. All right, so let's go ahead and fill in the body of the ghost. And we just want to do a outline. Do your outline first. Don't outline and flood at the same time on this, because remember, the other thing we want to do is we want to put these, we're going to go back and do a double stack outline so that it is lifted, right? So can you see what I'm doing here? And I've just got the tip of my bag cut to probably the equivalent of a number 2. It's probably cut equivalent to a number 2 piping tip if you use tips. I've been trying to be more careful and cut my bags at a 1.5 because that's my preferred piping tip. If I'm using a piping tip, that's the preferred number I like to use. But sometimes you just can't really get a good flow on a tipless bag unless you cut equivalent to a number 2, okay? So let's put this down. There we go. Everybody okay so far? Now I'm just going to fix this outline. The outline is important tonight because of what we're about to do, okay? And let's go ahead and switch over to our orange or whatever color you are using for the pumpkin. And I'm going to go ahead and do my outline for this as well. This is not as important that we do the double stack outline. Like, I'm going to give that a few minutes to set up before I do another outline, because we want those to be the underneath of like a ruffle, like a flowy ghost, but it's not as important on the pumpkin because we're going to section the pumpkin off anyway. So what we're going to do over here on the pumpkin is, you can go ahead and sketch on this cookie too, you guys. Don't forget, you definitely can move it from here to here. I've kept it separate specifically so I could show you the faces though. All right, so let's get us a nice outline and flood. We're going to do this in separate sections so that they don't melt together, right? So that that icing doesn't heal up and make it just a big flat surface. We want a segmented pumpkin because that gives us a little more dimension. Now, a little bit tricky when you're doing this pumpkin because you've also got to take into consideration that you're working around his eyes and nose and mouth. So if that becomes too much for you, then what I would recommend is that you switch and do a wet on wet technique. and just have some black icing and a little bit of white icing ready to go, and just do your eyeballs, nose, mouth first, and then go back and do your flooding of your pumpkin, okay? Now remember, even though the line is there to dip my hat, I need to go up under that hat. So when I put the hat on, it's a little bit raised. So we're going to go ahead and pipe our middle section, kind of following our guide over here. And I may split this to be 5 sections, so if it so that we have a little more setup, but I don't really think we have room for it. Now, if that looks wonky to you, that's because I'm using the method where the eyes are flat, so they look like they're backlit with a candle. So my center section has to leave all these open areas, which is why I like the sketching and why I like this cookie rather than doing a double stacked outline to raise it. I like to leave it like this. And what I'm doing now is working around that cool little mouth we gave him. Then I got to come on the bottom, and I'm just visually gathering my areas where the section would be, so that if I had fully piped that, like made the whole thing a pumpkin, that's the section I'm doing right now in the center, okay? And then we're going to fill these in. Because we're doing different segments on our pumpkin, we don't need that raised outline area. But for the ghost, we want him to look flowy, right? Or her, whatever she is. Now, I did see that my icing is closing in. So if that happens, all you need to do is take your scribe and pull it back just a little bit. Now, if it's too wet, just scrape it and start over. Mine, I just got a little too much on there, so it's trying to push in. The other thing you can do, if you go back and you see that the nose is a little too small, then when it's fully dry tomorrow, come back in with the watercolor brush end, with the brush end, and just redarken that, and then color around the edge of the nose on the orange icing. It'll make the nose look bigger and give it a little more definition. It's a lot easier than scrapping the cookies and scraping and all of that. And if you just really can't stand any of that, then seriously, just do a wet on wet technique and come back in right now and fill that with black icing and use your scribe to get all of your pointed areas, okay? And I think we are going to go ahead and leave them at 4 sections. I think if we try and fit another one over here, it's going to be too much. And then we'll lose this workspace right here. All right, so off to the side, I'm just going to purge the tip of that bag. Now I'm going to come back and put down another level of outline exactly where this outline is, okay? And I'm doing that because I want a nice tall outline. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of time to crust so that when I flood it, I can raise it up, and the areas in the center there where we want it to look like it's you know, like a ghost or a flowy sheet or a flowy dress, so that when I flood that and the icing comes up, those will be the lower points, and we'll have plenty of area to contain that icing and keep it from marrying together or healing itself into the section next to it, okay? All right, I think that looks pretty good there. All right, so while I need to give both of these a minute, okay, because they're smaller cookies, I'm going to fix this. I just noticed I have a little bit of black from where I scraped when I enlarged the little nose there. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out. And now what's left, I'm going to tuck that down into the icing by just bobbing the scribe up and down, okay? All right, so you're starting to get the picture of what this is going to look like. Now, I'm not going to use my brown icing bag yet because I do not want to clog the tip on this bag just yet, because it is a 1.5 PME tip. And if you are not familiar with icing tips, the PME tips are fabulous because they're, hey Nadine, because they are a seamless, stainless tip. So you don't get, when you're piping really delicate details, especially on cookies or small decorative items, cookies, macaroons, whatever you might be doing this with, this will give you a lot more control of your icing. You know, I love using tipless bags. I don't like cleaning the tips, but there are occasions where you're doing really fine detail work and they're just super handy, okay? So, ready to give our ghost a try? Let's see what Jen is saying. She has a computer. Let's see, hold on. That could be due to the update, Jen. Seriously. She's saying she has a computer poltergeist. All the comment bubbles at the top were in Spanish. So, seriously, it might have something to do with the update. Hey, Camille. So, Nadine, you have 2 boxes coming to you, my friend. Hey. Jen, if you don't mind, would you drop them in a link to the coffee shop for the free download form for CookieCon Dallas, just for anybody that's popping on? Because tonight you can text that form back to me at the phone number at the beginning of the video. Sign up first by typing the word CookieCon so that you get added, but then take a picture of your filled out form and get it back to me. Get it back to me tonight, because midnight tonight is the cutoff for the special bags. Now, if you didn't want to do that, that's fine. I'll still have other trade items for when we meet up in Dallas, but there is a bag that's just for cookie snack attackers, okay? Let's see. Comments stop showing up. Okay, so if you're seeing this, hopefully your screen is not frozen. If you're seeing this, then just go out and come back in, okay? Because it's probably just something to do with the internet. The comments on my end are still coming from all 3 places, and I can still see them all when they're scrolling. So that's good. I'm trying, Nadine. It's all that sugar you sent me. Guys, if you're on Facebook, go follow this link. If you're going to be in Dallas and get that form downloaded, then you'll be all set, okay? All right, let's go back to our jack-o'-lantern. I think that we maybe could do the other 2 sections on him. Trying to think if there's anything else we can do before we do that. Nope, we really need to do that. So let's do that. Let's see if we can make it work. And what I'm going to do is just come a little bit off to the side and maybe not go right up on top since my icing is so fresh. By the way, did I tell you guys that you are going to get samples of Jeannie's Dream meringue powder in the Christmas limited edition and in the regular Christmas box? So you're going to get to try some really awesome meringue powder from the Creative Cookier. I'm excited for you guys to try that. There are different areas of the country where meringue acts differently, or the brand acts differently, I guess I should say. And I really love that one as a base. It makes a nice puffy icing, especially a nice puffy base icing, especially if you're liking to do lettering on cookies. Look at our cute little face already. I'm not going to move it. Yeah, you're going to have Jeannie's Dream in there. And if you're going to Dallas, Jenny from Creative Cookier, which is the Jeannie's Dream people and the Screen Genie and all that, they are going to have a booth at Dallas. So apparently Mike and Karen got them a booth, got them set up. I guess they weren't going, but now they're going. So that's going to be so fun. Excited to meet all of them. Let's see. Oh, and I'm very sorry if you watched the earlier video. After I finished the video earlier today, I had the worst sneezing fit from the ragweed, or whatever that stuff's called. We've always called it ragweed, but it might have a more official name. I don't know. I had the worst sneezing fit, though. I barely made it off the live before it was like 7 straight sneezes. All right, I'm going to turn this just because I don't want to risk going too close to the setup areas, okay? And I want to stay on my outline for the eyes. Also, if you feel like putting the time in, this would be so cute if you went back tomorrow and did a little bit of dry dusting with Turkish black or with a pumpkin color from the Sugar Art to just increase the depth of the divots in the jack-o'-lantern. That would just add a little bit more dimension and shadow. This smells so good. I also used Clearly Not Vanilla to flavor it. And I used, in another batch, I used Jen, if you can find the link on her site, it's called Citrus something. It's a flavoring and it is delicious in the icing. I mean, just really delicious. And it smells great when you're decorating. So look how cute. Let me lift this. Hopefully I won't disturb it. But you can see how we got such nice dimension, right? And we like that low-lying area. Now, because I'm trying to give my outline a little more time to set up, I'm going to go ahead right now and just add a little more coloring in here and stay away from the wet icing. But I'm just doing this. Don't do this now at home. I'm just doing it because I need to have a few extra seconds or so to start in on that ghost, okay? Yeah, I think that it looks good. Okay, so I'm going to swap cookies for a minute. Let's put these up top and let that little guy set up. And let's purge the tip of the white and get going on our little ghost. So remember, we need to fully fill in under the hat, but we roughly know where we marked the hat, the brim of the hat. And it's okay that we're going to cover that up because marking the brim of the hat was more about an exercise of where to place the eyeballs, remember? I'm not sure. I don't think that's the name of it, Sharon, but if you guys can find it, it's on her Creative Cookier page. For sure it's on there, but it's delicious. I wish it's only because I'm live. I can't think of the name because I can see the bottle. So I'm going to put a little outline around the eyeballs. Now, why, Amy, did I not have to double line the eyeballs? Because I don't need them to look flowy. So I just need one level on my eyeballs. Okay. They don't need to look flowy. Like we've created a wave. Now this technique I'm doing at the bottom here, guys, once you know how to do this, it's fabulous on graduation gown cookies. So just remember this come summertime if you're making graduation cookies for anybody. The technique I'm teaching you to create that look on the cookie, it's the same thing that you do for graduation cookies. Now, I've just got a rough area. As I'm flooding, I'll readjust the eyes if I want to. So what I'm going to do is start up top. And I got that nice barrier because I've got a double stacked outline. And this is fresh icing. I love piping with fresh icing. And remember, I'm adding, whoop! I squeezed so hard I popped the little bag clip off here. That's so funny. Sorry, guys. It scared me. I thought it was going to go all over. Have you ever had a bag explosion? I've busted bags down here before when I've been piping. Yes, citrus serendipity. That's what it is. That's it. Thank you, Jen. So remember, because I did that double stack outline, I can make it a little taller up in that top part, which is going to help our hat really sit up, okay? Now, I don't want to fill in his mouth. So let's go ahead and put a quick outline down for his little smile. You don't have to do the smile, you guys. You can pass on the smile. And then as we come down here, I'm just going to fill in these areas. And you can see this is 18-second icing. I'm not really doing a lot of adjusting, finagling, dipping, touching it, all of that. It's just marrying with itself really nicely. So let me get this part filled in because then I want you to really pay attention to what happens down here at the bottom for technique. Okay. So you can see all of that is healing up. I haven't had to shake the cookie. I haven't had to use a scribe. We're good to go. So now down here, we have these double stacked areas. So I'm going to be squeezing my flood icing in and letting it go to the edges, but I want to get a nice puff on it. And that's going to give me these lower levels. If I don't get too heavy-handed, this is going to look like a ripple in the fabric, okay? So let me turn this way, and I'm pushing my icing over towards those areas. I just need it to sit up on top of the outline just a little bit, okay? But I need that barrier to hold it back. Do you see what, and you see how it's already self-healing? All right, so let's come over and let's do this middle section. And I'm only doing that to give it just a couple of extra seconds. Just sometimes you just need a couple extra seconds when you're doing this in between so that it doesn't spill over the barriers and become one big blob, right? But we still want it to self-heal, so we don't want it to fully crust over. All right, so now we're going to come back over here, and if I don't get too heavy-handed, then we're going to be able to see those ripples in the cookie and still get a nice puff icing in there, okay? All right, so watch that settle down, but do you see how we have that little ripple? Hey, Shayna, how you doing? All right, let's come over here, same thing. I'm pushing the icing towards the edges, but I am not laying down another outline. Now, if you feel like you're going to be too heavy-handed, just pull your icing over using a scribe so that you don't put too much and it doesn't spill over, okay? Now, if I'm really careful, I'm going to be able to lift this so that you can see what's happened I just have to be real careful not to spill the icing. Can you see how that double stacked gave us those like flowy looking areas on the cookie? All right, and if it looks like it's going to spill over, just be super careful and coax it a little more to get the ripple areas. Now, you can also add to that dimension look by adding the texture, right? Like a dry dust, you can add in some texture in those areas. Now, these are not finished in that they need to set up longer. So for our hat, we're going to switch back over to the other cookies, okay? Because really what I need to do is put these in a dehydrator before I start piping this hat. But I want to show you how to do the hat two different ways. So we're going to pop on over and start that. But I need to keep these level. I don't want the icing to crack, and I don't want them to move around a bunch, and I don't want them to spill over. So let's just move those out of the way. And then we're going to practice on this paper towel first for the technique we're about to do on our hat. But before we do that, just any small paintbrush that you have that's stiff, something like this, what we're going to do is take, and remember, use a smaller bag of icing. So just put a little bit of icing on these two areas that we said was going to be like the under part of the hat. Just put a little bit of icing on there. This is supposed to be a straw hat, so it's totally okay if you do this real rough and textured, but just take that little bit of icing and you're just kind of blotting it to cover that area. We don't want it to look pressure piped. We just want it to look rough underneath like it was an actual straw hat, where you'd have that little bit of underside to it. Now, me, I like how the black looks underneath so that I don't have to get it fully covered, but you play with the amount of icing you put on here. I like to have that under part because it actually looks like shadowing, but if you just really don't like that or you don't want to sketch on the cookie, totally no problem. So you see why we're not doing this over here though, because these need to set up. So what we're going to do is just blot this down. However much icing we put in there, we just need to fill that area, okay? Now, at this point, I'm going to switch and just do one hat on one cookie. We're not going to do both of the hats tonight. It's the same hat. So I'm just going to show you the technique of how to do it. But I want to show you, the reason I did both of them just now is because I want to show you the different texture you can get. So this is more like spackling, swiping. I made it really, really rough. Can you see all that dimension? So I'm going to leave that up to you, what you choose to go with. This is just painted and smooth. I've pulled most of it off. I have a little bit of black showing through for shadowing, okay? You don't have to do that. You can do it totally different. You can do an outline and flood just like we did these sections and keep moving. I did want to show you how to start pressure piping though. So I am using, what did I say earlier? I think this is a 1.5 tip. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put down the outline of the brim of the hat. Everything I'm about to put down on the cookie for an outline, tomorrow I will come back with a chocolate brown powder or luster dust or something, and a little bit of Everclear, and I'll darken it. That way I don't have to make two icing colors, okay? But changing the color a little bit on just the section I'm about to put down will look really good when you come back to this later. So what we're going to do is start here, and we're going to go around the outside and then pull it back along the front and around this part. So tomorrow, when you go to do this on your cookie, what I'm about to show you, you'll be doing on top of this ghost head, because that's going to lift it up a little bit. So it gives it even a little bit more dimension. Okay. So let's turn this sideways because I'm right-handed. Now remember, this is not a double stacked tip, a double stacked outline. We just need an outline. It does not have to be a double stack. And I selected the 1.5 tip for tonight because, although I do think it's a little small, hold on just a second. I may just have to cut a tipless bag because I need this to be a little thicker. And I think that this is just a little small for what I used on the original cookie. So I'm going to pop my bag out of there and into a fresh bag. You see what I'm doing? I'm just dropping it in. All right. And now I'm going to give you something. If you guys screenshot, get prepared to screenshot because I'm going to hold in my sketch so that you can take a screenshot of it in case you want to use a projector to get your hat outline. Okay, this is just my drawing. So grab a screenshot of that, make it a little easier for you. All right, so I'm probably working with a 2. Oh yeah, that's much better. That's much more what I would like to have. So let me use my thingamajiggy and just take this little bit of extra off. By the way, did you guys know I get to teach in one of the open demo rooms at CookieCon? So excited about that. Can't wait to participate. And we're going to be using fondant, modeling chocolate, and wafer paper as ways to increase your depth and dimension on cookies. So I will even be doing a little bit of sculpting, a little bit of fondant sculpting that day, okay? So let's go ahead and start our outline. So this, I'm using a tipless bag, but this is really equivalent to a 2-point tip. That's how I cut it. And this is for demo purposes only right now, right? So if I had a 2-point piping tip here, I would have just switched to a 2-point piping tip, okay? Because I need the line to be a little thicker, and I want my straw hat to look a little thicker as I'm piping it, but I don't have one here. For some reason, I only brought leaf tips home. Let me show you this too. This came in my package from AliExpress. Isn't that cute? A little mermaid brush for dusting. Like if you do a bunch of airbrush cookies and you need to dust them with powdered sugar or cornstarch before you bag them. Cute, super soft little brush. And it's a unicorn. It'll just make you happy while you're doing all that. Yes, Alyssa, there is a schedule. If you scroll down on the CookieCon page, Miss Karen has posted the schedule for the breakout sessions on Saturday, the open demo rooms, and everybody's time slot and what they're going to be showing you how to do. So yes, that is definitely there. Okay, yes, let me come here. Now we're going to come back. Come right in here for his hat. And I'm going to thicken this up, this area right here. I want that little edge. So it looks like, do you know how if you get a nice cowboy hat, how they steam them and they bend them and they roll them to give them the look that you want? Or maybe you don't know that. Maybe you've never had a cowboy hat. My favorite cowboy hat disappeared into the Mississippi River in New Orleans the day my husband and I got engaged, and I've never found another hat that I liked as much as that white straw hat. And it went over the boat, and Brian just scared me to death because I thought he was going over the edge off that boat for that hat. Let's see. Now I'm adding to this. I want this to be nice and thick. And I want some texture. Can you see that I'm bouncing the bag? Because again, it's supposed to be a straw hat, so I don't want it real perfect. So see how I've built my line up? Can you guys see that okay? And now I want to come up here and I want to do that little divot. And remember, the areas that I'm putting down right now, these areas are going to get a little bit of darkening. Oh, Barbie is saying that file, that listing is in the file section on the CookieCon attendees page. Barbie, if you can, I guess you can't put a link because it's a private group. Skip that. But you could message Alyssa. Elisa, is it Alyssa or Elisa? Tell me how to say your name so I say it right, because I'm going to meet you soon, and names are important. Okay, so I built that line up a little bit. Yeah, definitely, you guys, glad I switched away from the 1.5. I must have used a 2, the first cookie that I did like this, because this is definitely, the bouncing was how I was able to get that cool texture. Can you guys see that? Right? Because we want it to be a straw hat. So now what I'm going to do, don't forget these areas that I'm putting down now. Tomorrow, these are the areas that I'm going to come back and add a little dry dust, a little darker dry dust, a shade or two darker than whatever color you chose for your hats. That's what you'll want to put down to just increase the shadowing on this. And I'd show you the finished original cookie, but earlier today when I went to get those down off the cookie tower that's over to my left, I spilled a whole tray of finished cookies and they cracked up because I have a really hard floor in this room. So that happened today too, which wasn't fun, but okay, it's all right. All right, so you have your basic outline. Now, one thing I am going to do, this is on the pumpkin cookie, so I'm just going to use my orange because I think it'll be easier for you to envision if I just put some color. I'm not going to take the time to do different sections or even to fill in the whole pumpkin, but I think when I lift this cookie for you to look at it, you're going to have an easier time if you can see what would actually be the body of your ghost or your pumpkin. So I'm going to just fill in a little bit here and then lift it up so it'll be in the video, and that way you guys can pause it at that point if you need to, okay? All right. So just for purposes of our video tonight, thank you, Barbie, for doing that. I'm sure she appreciates that so much. There's so much to get ready for, you guys. I don't even want to show you the list that I have to complete before I can leave town next Tuesday. And that includes finishing 2 more sets of cookies for the sugar show. All right, so I want you to see where it separates. Can you guys see that? Now, again, in case you're tuning in right at this particular second, I intentionally did not go back and put the sections in my pumpkin because I'm just adding that color there so you can see the dimension of the hat, okay? And this is a straw hat, so do it in yellow, gold, light brown, whatever you want your hat to be. I wanted to use this same brown because it's the brown I used last week. You do not have to. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of pressure piping. So I guess the easiest way might be to show you this on the paper towel first. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. I'm going to do mine like I'm weaving the hat, but you definitely could just flood this in and be done and move on. You've got enough dimension there, enough motion on the cookie by the way you place your lines that you definitely could just flood it at this point and move on. But I want him to look really textured. So beginners, this is what I recommend for you. Just go back in with your thick icing and just fill that hat in with a bunch of little beads. And make sure when you pull it away, I better get you, let me do this on a clean paper towel, you guys, because I think there's just so many things on that paper towel going on where I've cleaned the tips. It might not make sense to you. So let's do this on a clean paper towel. So for beginners at this point, you would just make a little ball of icing, squeezing, I'm not moving the bag, and pull up. And if your icing is the right consistency, you're going to get that cool little tip. So it's going to look like a frayed straw hat. Can you guys see that tip? This is one of the times when you start to practice with icing that and you have all those annoying little tips, and then you can't bag those cookies because those little tips break off. Normally you'd go back with a scribe and you'd bounce that in a few times. This is one of the times that will work to your advantage if you're still learning how to pipe icing. So I'm giving you a little jiggle, I'm pulling up. So if you want to do beginner level, just do that outline, flood it, move on. If you want to move up a little bit on the amount of texture on the hat, you can do these cool dots and just pull up, right? Because it's not overly detailed, but it has enough detail that it's going to give some dimension to your cookie. But what I would like to do is try a weaving pattern on here for you. So looking at the hat, what I'm going to be doing is similar to what I did on that balloon cookie, where I did the basket weave for the balloon basket. So line's going to come out this way, and then all the lines are going to radiate out. The base lines are going to radiate out like this because we're going to be filling up our hat area. Do you see what I mean? All right, but we need to go one at a time. So mark your center area. We're going to start here. So just imagine that. We're going to go back and do this on the cookie in just a second. So what you'll do is on this, you'll come over the line just to the side and over, leaving space in between, okay? Is this focusing okay for you guys? Let me get it to focus. Let me lift this up and pull it down because I feel like on my screen it looks just, there we go. It looked just a little bit fuzzy. So oh yeah, that's better, don't you think? All right, so now we need to cross over those lines with another radiating outline. Do you see? Then I'm going to come back in between and just let that icing touch down and then cross over. So it looks woven. We're going for a woven texture. Do you see that? Can you see what we're doing there? Okay. So let's come back and start this on the actual cookie to make our straw hat, okay? Let me, I'm running out of places to leave things for you to see. So let's do this. Let me lift this so you can take a screenshot so you can get an idea on the face and the sections on the pumpkin. And I'm going to move him completely out of the way. Oh, by the way, for people that got the Halloween cookie products kit, one thing that I considered to be crucial to the kit arrived the day I was packing the kits up. Your tombstone. So your tombstone cutter will be in there as a complete freebie from me because I had reduced the price of the kit by $5 because there was going to be 2 missing items. The other item we can live without. We can recreate this very similar look with a wet on wet technique instead of airbrushing. So that's okay. But this, I really wanted you to have this particular tombstone. So your tombstone cutter came in. So excited. I was very happy when that showed up. Now the other package is still literally lost and it has a bunch of fancy brushes in it. So I'm very concerned about that because I need those brushes for a project I'm working on. All right, here we go. You ready? Let's see if it's going to is it refocusing? It looks like it's refocusing. Let's hold that up a little. There we go. Now, if you guys will bear with me for a second, I think what I would like to do, oh, and let me lift this one up. Okay, so check out on the left, my icing, I can still see the ripple in there, but it did flood over this one barrier wall. So you see what I mean? If you put too much, and then do you see here and here how I got that nice dimension? So these are going to pick up really great tomorrow when I dry dust my little ghost, okay? So let me set that to the side. All right, now what I'm going to do, just give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. If it'll let me do it, I'm going to switch to the other camera and zoom in a little. Because this pressure piping, it's so hard to see. Let me just see if I can get it here and does that look good? I know it's a huge view of the cookie, but I think it's better for you to see it like this. So let's make sure it shows up okay over here. Yep, I think that's better. All right. All right, let's purge the tip of the bag. Now here we go. So remember, you can do the dots. You can just flood and fill. You can do the dots, but we're going to try to do a weave on this cookie, okay? That sounds funny, doesn't it, that we're doing a weave on a cookie? And this is the time where you would need the 1.5 tip. This is it right here when you get to this point. So go back a little bit in the video so that you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just curving it around to fill this area of the cookie with the alternating strokes. Now you're going to be able to see it a lot better. Right now I'm just filling this by crisscrossing for the straw hat, and I'll lift it in a second to show you. But in the top, you're going to be able to see the pattern really good. And this just makes such a cute straw hat. It's so cute to have all this little texture on at least one fancy cookie, right? For the holiday. All right. So a little bit of weave. Not fancy right there. Not particularly cute. Don't make it too neat looking. You don't want it too neat looking. It's supposed to be a rough fall straw hat like your scarecrows that you put out front of your house. By the way, my husband brought my scarecrows home from the storage building, so I got to put scarecrows at the house today. So I'm not sure if that's where my birds went or not, but I had a really cute pair of lovebirds that was living out front. My husband could sit out on the front stoop and feed them, and they disappeared after the scarecrows went in. So I think my scarecrows might have actually scared them off, which was not my intention. I was just decorating for fall, but I left them some food out there. And this is going to look so cool tomorrow. The more little ridges you can get to stand up when you go back and do your dry dusting, it's going to look very pretty. Now, if you want to get real fancy and come off here, because again, it's supposed to be a scarecrow, you can come right in here and give him some hair. And I'm just putting, this icing is so stiff that I've got all these cool pieces. I can attach it and then pull, and it's breaking, right? This is one time where it works out perfect. But if you want to give him some hair, this is how you would do that. Can you see it? Let's come over here and give him a little hair too. We'll give him some here. We're just touching down and then pulling, touching down, a little bit of pressure, then pull so that it breaks off. So he looks like he's got some straw sticking out of the hat. Okay. So I'll leave that part up to you. But I think it looks really cute, especially when you do the pumpkins that are supposed to look like scarecrows. And so you can do that all around the top if you want to, okay? But let's get to the body of the hat. And I'm going to turn it sideways because I am right-handed, okay? All right. So here we go. We're going to start right in the middle and run one line from the bottom to the top. I always start in center because then you don't have to worry about starting on the right and working in and being off center when you get to the middle, okay? Now, because this is an outline, or rather a very thick toothpaste consistency icing, you might have to, when it pulls off, you might have to break down those little tips. So we're going to start down here, and we're just going up and over. And we're leaving enough space between our up and overs for the weave, right? We're just practicing a little weave on here. Let me see. Then come back, put a line right down over the edges of those, and work one whole side and then work to the other side. Okay, there we go. And then in between where you just piped, let it set down and come up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over your line, up and over. Got it? Then bottom to top, cover the edges of that line. Then go back and in the alternating sections, up and over. Can you get the idea of what we're doing here? Now, if you like practicing with the dry dusting, these are really good cookies to do that on, and it's good because you're adding a lot of dimension with your royal, and then you're going back and getting another level of dimension by creating the shadowing. All right, so in alternating sections, I'm up and over. Now you can see what makes this icing special is that it is not marrying together. It's not moving at all. It's perfectly holding its shape. Hold on one sec. You guys okay under there? They're talking to me. They want me to be done live streaming for the day. They're so funny on Tuesdays. I usually spend the whole day in the cookie room. Today, I could not spend the whole day in the cookie room because I had a little trouble with my local post office not showing up to pick up the rest of the packages today. So I was trying to find the local phone number. They finally got me somebody. One of the rural area carriers came in and picked up because we never saw our pickup person today. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Somebody's got to come get these tonight. They have to travel tonight. They have to leave because I am leaving on Monday and I have to know everybody has their stuff that ordered it so I can release those 2 boxes, which I knew my little brain would come back around to this. I started to tell you earlier that I held back 2 additional boxes, making 33 in total for everybody to get their items and make sure that no boxes got damaged or anything like that, okay? Just so I'd have enough items if something happened. So, if everything shows delivered and I've not heard from anybody by this Saturday, I'm going to release the other 2 boxes for purchase. So if you quickly comment over on the right, if you missed your chance to get a Halloween box and you're in the United States, because it's only US shipping right now, if you missed your chance to get a Halloween box, then I will take the first 2 people as waitlisters for the box and I can get them shipped next Monday. With the caveat that if something happens, if everybody else gets all their stuff and it's perfect, but you are one of the last 2 boxes and you get your box and it's damaged, then it would just be working out a credit for you for whatever was damaged in your box or placing an insurance claim if something is damaged or missing, rather, because I can't get the products to replace what's in that box. You understand? I think that makes sense. But I certainly don't want to keep this extra product here if somebody is in hopes of joining and having that box to join class. Now, you don't have to have that box to be in class, though. You can just buy the class, which is sold separately, and there is a product supply list on there. You're also welcome to watch the video for the box reveal to give you an idea, and then you can make decisions about what you might want to substitute, okay? So yes, this takes a lot of time to do, but how much fun is it to have this level of texture on a cookie? This is when you really want to sit down and just have a good time with your cookies. So you see that beautiful weave? And you see by curving the weave on the side, it actually looks like a bent hat, like a bent cowboy hat. All right, so let's go ahead and work the other direction, right? We started in the center for spacing reasons, and now we're going to go back and work the other direction. But one thing we're going to do is we're not piping over that curve of the hat. And in fact, when we get done, this area on the inside and then that swoopy area right there, very technical term for you, the swoopy area here and then this area, we're going to go back and add a whole nother level of icing to it, okay? So let's do our up and over. This is really a midnight project when you just kind of want to chill out and not talk to anybody, because it's that level of detail that you need for the piping. Can you see it? It's so pretty, though. People are really mesmerized by this when they see it on a cookie. Like just the sheer amount of piping this. It's like somebody piping a princess cake with a star tip and individual points to pipe a princess cake. I personally don't have the patience for that anymore on cakes. But that's probably because I injured my hand so many times with this, doing this kind of stuff. I just don't even risk it anymore. It's not worth it to me at this point because of that, because of blowing out that tendon in my hand. There we go. Now, the other thing that's really fun about this, when you start piping, you see it? You can actually put holes in your straw hat if you want to. If you want to leave an area out, if you want to go back and take a boo-boo stick and just kind of rough it up a little bit, you can rough it up. Okay. And we're just doing the alternating areas like I showed you on the napkin. But if you want to, you certainly can leave out areas. Just if you know you're going to do that, then what I would recommend that you do is darken underneath with the same tone or the same color of icing, and then make some frayed spots. Now I do need to turn the cookie, even though I'm right-handed, I need to turn it because now I need to pipe from the outside in so that I don't mess up the other icing, right? It's a shame to do this much detail and then not finish it off in this last little area over here. All right. Oops, whoops. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. All right. Get that up there for you. Then I'm going to go back and add that outside edge. The other reason I like that rough outside edge, you guys, is because I don't get any cratering with this technique. I never get any cratering because of doing this bouncy area. So we're just going to put another rough area around here. We're going to lift this area now. Right? We're going to lift that so it looks like we have that little swoop on the hat. Okay. Same thing here. We're going to come along here. Okay, can you see? Look how cool. I'm not going to see, whose hat am I not going to see a picture of their cowboy hat? So you guys have to get prepared for this though, because the Easter kit that I'm putting together, we are doing I got a great fondant mat that you're going to love, that you can make all the little bits and pieces for the inside of your Easter basket. I got a great cutter coming. It's a beautiful Easter basket cutter. It's my favorite Easter basket cutter. It's already en route. So this pressure piping is going to be so pretty when we get to our Easter kit. So I'm excited about that too. So let me just put a little bit of straw hair so you can see what that would look like if you really wanted to do it. And again, you guys, I used brown because I wanted my overall cookies to coordinate with each other. And this is the same shade of brown I used last week for, was it last week or the week before? You see? So you can make that cute little surface for him and give him some hair. I don't think pumpkins have hair, but I think in theory you could say it's a pumpkin scarecrow. So you see what I mean here? So I'm going to bring all the cookies that I have finished back into frames so that you put the two together when you make your cookie. Let me lift this up for you a little bit so you can see the detail on our hat. Let me get in there. You see that? Isn't that neat? So much fun. So it looks like the hat's going back behind his head. You got a little bit of hat open there. So tomorrow when you shade these outside edges, just dry dust. I wouldn't paint. I just do a little dry dusting. Shade that area, the rim of the hat here, this little swoop here, this area. I wouldn't bother shading in here unless you have two different shades of brown. If you have a light shade of brown, then I would shade in the inside area of the brim of the hat here and here, and then this part that we pressure piped up here, light. But then go dark on the outside edges, because that's where you would be rubbing your hands and you'd have the oils and all that. It would just look a little amazing there, right? All right, so that's your hat. But now let's put these two together. And I'm going to pipe another hat when our video is done tonight. But let's put these two guys together. So imagine this hat on this cookie and a little bit of straw piping down here. And you have the cutest little Halloween cookie. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tonight. This was day 4, part 2 of Fall Days Fright Nights. I did make them a little bit scary. I don't think they're so scary they're going to creep anybody out this week. And this is our ghost. So let's talk about that. You would do the ghost the same way. And then when you pipe this hat on top of this ghost, you see this part of your hat is going to be lifted. So it's going to be a little rounded because you're going to be piping over top of the ghost head. And the reason you want to do that is because that white is going to poke through. So it's actually going to look like a straw hat on your ghost or on your pumpkin because you're going to see these colors underneath it when you pipe over top of that area, okay? So I'll post you guys a finished picture of what mine look like tomorrow after they're dry dusted. And I think that's it for tonight. But you may see me again later tonight, but it might be super, super late. If I can get to it, I just want to record a box reveal from the Frankenstein class because it's so cute. And I want to show you some other things that came from AliExpress that are just adorable. All right, so I think that's it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Can't wait. Sally, I'm glad you like it. I really like doing that weave. And I personally probably really like it because at one point, my husband and I had started to set up a wagon museum, and we were collecting all kinds of old actual vintage wagons, farm wagons, we had a Conestoga wagon, all of that kind of stuff. And we had a sled that was woven from grapevine, and it very much looked like this. It was just one of my favorite pieces. All right, you guys, so good to see you. Hope to see you soon. Come back, watch the videos. Let me know if you need anything. Don't forget to get your CookieCon forms in, and I will catch you guys tonight, tomorrow, or in a couple days, okay? As long as technology cooperates, you're going to see me a few times in the next couple days. And then don't forget, next week, Tutorial Tuesday will be on Monday because I'm leaving for CookieCon on Tuesday, okay? I'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful night. Hope everyone's well.